Hey, welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This episode is Talk Tips number 13, how to start your public speaking career. Check it out. So you want to start your public speaking career. First of all, congratulations. And also a warning. You're entering into the most dangerous place in the world. Here's why. Because public speaking is the number one fear in the world. So that makes the stage the most dangerous place on the planet, right? What would make you want to do this? That's insane. That's ludicrous. But you might also be feeling the same kick in the gut that I had that said you have a message to share. And not only that, a powerful, life-changing message to share, and you want to bless other people because you know that you needed someone just like you early on in the beginning. So how do you get started? Well, the process is really quite simple. However, I will warn you that if you get started on stage and then you start speaking and you start speaking and you start speaking, you can keep doing it for free, it becomes unsustainable really quickly, and that is a recipe for burnout. And I do not want your passion to get burned out because it's unsustainable. So pay very close attention. First is know what a stage is. There are 4 different kinds of stages, and you've heard me say this before, but it's worth repeating. Number 1 is your physical stage. It is a stage where you're at an event that you put on. It could be in your living room. It could be that simple, but it's a physical stage that you own. Number 2 is your digital stage. And guess what? Every time you go live on TikTok, every time you go live on Instagram, every time you go live on LinkedIn or Twitch or whatever platform you're on, or if you're going live on a podcast or pre-recording a podcast, doing your YouTube channel, those are all digital stages, and they're your digital stages. So I will talk in a moment about how they are also not your digital stages, because as far as I know, you don't own TikTok or Instagram or Meta or YouTube, whatever the platform is. You will be the one talking on stage, and it's technically your digital stage, but I'm going to talk about why it's important to do a next step here in a minute. Now we have other people's version of the same stages. We've got other people's physical stage, which is what most people think of when they think of stages. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't appear on your stage enough, then you will never get on other people's stages. They just have no reason to bring you on. So there's other people's physical stages, and that's like seminars, it's VIP parties, it's galas. There's lots of different options for other people's physical stages, but there's also other people's digital stages, which is a fantastic way to start. In fact, if you don't have your signature keynote written down and rehearsed and gotten feedback on it, that is okay. In fact, this is probably the most important part of this talk tip for you. If you're just getting started public speaking, I want you to go get my podcast database and set yourself 2 calendar appointments a week to go into that database and find the podcasts that fit your niche. I want you to apply to those shows and show up on those podcasts. The only requirement is that you're good at what you do and you're ready to talk about it. That is the number one best way to grow your business. So if you're starting your public speaking career, get on as many podcasts as humanly possible. And if you really want to get aggressive with it, just start your own podcast. That's what I did, and it took our business crazy through the roof within just the first year. Now, here's the second thing you need to know. I mentioned that all of these digital stages, the YouTube, the TikTok, the Meta, all of these things, they are technically your digital stage, but you don't own them. Here's why what I'm about to tell you is so important. You and I both know that Meta has crashed and it will crash again. And one day there will be a new app that replaces Instagram and it replaces TikTok and it replaces Lemonade, and all of these things that have started are fads. Like the next big thing will always come out. And when these things crash, or when they cancel you, or when they run out, you're out of luck unless you own your audience. And here's what that looks like. Anytime that you get on stage, you should be doing what's called a CTA, or in other words, a call to action. This is where you are gathering all of your audience into your own universe. And this is done through gathering emails. In order to have a CTA, you have to have something extremely valuable to give away to your audience. Now, I like to give away my podcast database. It's extremely valuable for you and so many people aspiring to be on stages. That's the tripwire that I use to bring people into my universe. And I find amazing new clients because of it. This is how you grow your business. So you've got to have a very short, sweet CTA, something that you can give away repeatedly for free. It's usually some kind of an ebook or database or a calculator or a digital asset of some kind that you give away in exchange for an email. Don't make the mistake of just posting the PDF or whatever it is on the internet. If you do, then people are just going to go grab it and you don't collect the information. Because again, when, not if, those systems crash, I want you to own your database. So once you get on stages, now we want to use these stages to grow your business. After you've given your CTA away, now people are on your newsletter. And once you offer valuable information, now these leads turn into clients. Now, no one wants to join just another newsletter, right? Like you and I both know our emails are freaking inundated with spam and with stuff that comes a lot, but it's not spam. And gosh, if you check my email, I've probably got like 1,000 unread messages in one email box, and I know over 5,000 unread messages in another. So when you're delivering stuff to your clients and they're on your email database, deliver what the natural next step is for them. Speak to your clients enough, interview them enough, ask them questions enough to understand them and what they're complaining about so that your emails and your newsletters actually answer those complaints. You're going to increase your open rate, increase your click-through rate, increase your client base. And when you do all that, that's when you have an increase in revenue in your business. Now, one last thing. I want you to be tracking the number of stages that you're on. Now, when I appear on stage, every single week, I am on at least 7 different digital stages. That's outside of being asked to speak at events, and that's outside of podcast appearances. That's outside of even posting my own podcast. If I include my own podcast, I'm on 11 stages every single week. That means I've over 2,300 stages so far, worldwide, both physical and digital. Track your stages. Track your conversions. How many people say yes to your call to action? Track your opt-in rate, track your sales ratio. When you know all of these numbers, then you can say, okay, is this stage worth it? Is starting a podcast actually worth it? How is my time giving me an ROI? That's what I want you to know. And here, again, I told you the most important thing already, but I got to underscore it with the next most important thing here. Do not stop. Do not give up. Did you know that podcasts that go past the 20th episode are in the top 1% of podcasts because so few people can make it past episode 20? You will stand out just by being consistent and having the stick-to-itiveness to keep going even when you have downtimes or even when you can't see the results of your labors yet. I'm cheering for you. I'll see you on your next stage.
Marianne Hickman here again. Listen, I hope super helpful for you. Maybe you'll learn something new. Share with me in the comments what was valuable. Or if you have this whole separate question like, hey, I wanted to know about this. I wanted to know about stage fright. I want to know how about my presentation on stage. I want to know about how to dress on stage. Anything that you want to know that's relevant to growing your business through stages, put in the questions. Because guess what? I go through and answer all of those personally. That's not an agency or a VA. That's me going through and looking at your questions because you are who I am here for. So last thing is I want you to get this database. If you haven't gotten it already, now I've got thousands of downloads on this thing, so maybe you got it, but if not, make sure you go to mariannehickman.com/database. What that's going to do is take you to a page. You're going to input all of your information. We're going to send the database to you. You're going to request access to it. I keep it locked down so I can make sure I get it to just the right people, and you're going to request access. And then once you have that, you're going to go through and apply to podcasts that have the topic that you'd be an expert speaking on. Here's the thing. I get this database updated twice a week. So there's always new stuff in there. And if you're a podcaster, there's even a list of guests that you can have on your show on that podcast. Maybe you end up doing a podcast swap and you grow your audience that way. Regardless, I want you to get it. So mariannehickman.com/database, and we'll see you in the next Talk Tips.